A sense of settling and welcoming and gathering. At the beginning of these times and place, knowing this time and place and gathering the energy and gathering the collectedness, welcoming and settling. A sense of giving the attention in this time, in this space, in this here and this now. The particularity of this experience, and yet shared. Across time and space. As we settle into the particular of this here, this now, and gathering of this energy, collecting of this capacity, a sense of fullness and awakening, a sense of welcoming, appreciating and experiencing fully the all of it. The whole of it, unfragmented, undistracted. And this is always a beginning. It's always a recollection in this moment. The way the body is supported internally and collectedness of the energy from the base of the spine. And the breath released on the out-breath, welcomed on the in-breath, received. The softness of the abdomen, rising softly on the in-breath, released on the out-breath. In this appreciation, in this awakened awareness, the gift of life to life, the capacity to receive, the capacity to respond. Here, the now. The gift without expectation, the release without regret, and past released, and future received. absence of remorse or regret, supporting confidence and appreciation, receiving. It's this much. And a trust in the transformation that is experienced in life and giving life to life. Patience to sustain this power, to contain this power of life, to endure the sensitivity and the confidence and the capacity to learn, to be with, sustain attention. Giving attention to the rhythm of life, the container and the stillness of the present moment. This is what we can experience, this is what we are experiencing. Allowing that. This gift of life to life, received and appreciated, experienced, released. In this present moment, here. The other day, I received a book about the king of the gods of the 33, and was reminded about the practice of anusati, the practice of recollection, and how that works. And then, so today I thought I'd talk a little bit about it, because maybe we don't know how much we are practicing it, and maybe that will help us. And then maybe there'll be aspects of the practice of anusati that we've maybe overlooked and could remember. The bit that we probably overlook because, particularly as monastics in a form or in a monastery, we do it so often, is the recollection of the triple gem when we bow 3 times. That's 3 different possibilities for remembering the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and remembering the qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. That's 3 subjects that are recommended to be recollected. Anusati is mindfulness plus. Mindfulness sustained on a subject. It's a Mindfulness is a present moment experience. And sustaining it through a subject, or through a topic, or through a theme is anusati. So it's a recommended thing, and it's a way of using thought and a way of connecting to emotions and to the sense of what motivates us, what inspires us, what gives us confidence and energy. So it's not to be just dismissed as not leading to anything or not good insight or anything. It's actually helpful to remember the qualities of the Buddha, to remember what the Dhamma, what the Buddha wrote to remember the Dhamma. What does that really mean? And to remember the Sangha as a refuge. So remembering these and actually dwelling on them, if you find that your meditation session is dull or unclear or in some way distracted, then to bring up subjects for recollection and give time to these. Give time to these, and also notice when you are doing it, and so it doesn't become too perfunctory. When we chant the recollection of the Buddha, Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho, and the Dhamma Svakato Bhagavata Dhammo, and the Sangha Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka. When we chant that, and and there are practices where we chant it 108 times, and for many of us, we have come across it so many times, and maybe we have chanted it as part of the morning chanting for years. And we haven't really recognized it. Or maybe we have recognized it whilst we are chanting, but maybe we could also bring it into some of our sitting practice or walking practice and actually anusati, give it extra attention so that it is something that uplifts and energizes our confidence in the preciousness of the triple gem, because that refuge and confidence in the triple gem is an important, very important aspect of why we can continue in this. So it's worthwhile. Can bring a little brightness in our lives as a sort of treat that we can give ourselves to recollect and experience the gratitude for the Buddha, for the teaching that he offered, for those that have supported it and brought it into life. This is an uplifting thing. So I do recommend it. It is important. And then to recollect for ourselves what holds us and what supports us internally. And these two recollections are about, and this is maybe a bit strange, but to recognize when we have behaved properly, when our sila is appropriate and suitable, when our behavior externally, what we actually do put out, is that something that we can, when we do look at the past, we don't feel remorse or regret or feel that we have something to hide. We can allow that internal support to be something that can support us now. So, at the end of the day, to really contemplate our sila, it's a helpful thing to do. And to remember how we've behaved, if we've behaved in ways that have been cruel or harmed things, then to know that, and then to know find ways of working through those, the way that we've spoken, the way that we've acted, the way that we've behaved, to recollect that. And then when we do sitting meditation, when do we feel supported by the sila that we've practiced in the past? This is something that we can use as a way of gaining that and being able to stand in the present moment and endure the present moment. And part of that also is all of it. Have we distracted ourselves? Have we lied? Have we misused our sexuality in some way? Or have we taken things that are not given? And if we can look at that and have confidence with that, that's such a great support for the meditation practice. And it's a helpful thing to recollect and contemplate, both sitting meditation and at the end of the day. And to, at the beginning of the day, recollect the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is really good, to bow, and then set that direction in one's heart, and then set up the intention to follow the training. And then allow that intention and the actions through the day to support you further. So the past is a support. And then also to something that you can actually rest upon, or a sense of almost comfort, is a sense of that there has been generosity in your life. There has been a sense of willingness to give without expectation, to release self-centeredness, to not be so concerned about one's own inadequacies, but to release without expectation of reward, just a sense of givingness, which is it's sort of, sometimes the giving is in terms of what you can get back from it and all that sort of stuff, but chaga is a sense of real release of that, sense of giving of energy and time, a sense of not expecting anything back. That's an aspect of when recollecting the times and the occasions and the places where that's been part of what you've experienced. It can give a real sense of confidence to one's life, and a sense of, I can rest a bit. I feel supported. And allow that sense to, be like the sort of the sila and the generosity of your life, be something that you feel supports the rest of it. Like the sort of backbone or the skeleton of one's life. Because that's it's internal, but it's also external. It's how you do relate to people. But if it comes from within, that sense of within, then it can really support you. And so reflecting on it, reflecting it back on yourself will bring it in and be very supportive, give you a sense of willingness to endure and keep going forward through to into the unknown, which is the future, without worry or hope or fear, without even expectation. Just this is what can be done. So with that, then recognize that the other bit that was particularly mentioned when I was talking to this person about the Saka, the king of the gods, and his story, which is a good story. I won't go into it in too much now, but this was the head of the gods of the 33. You can read his story, you can find it, but it's a good story. But recollecting devas in general, recollecting the gods, because in Buddhism there are a lot of gods. There are more gods than there are hell beings. There are gods, gods and gods, levels of gods. And these are things that we don't necessarily understand. And then some people will say, well, they don't really exist and they're just bits of your heart and bits of your mind and you create them. And yes, that's one way of looking at it, but it's also, I feel, a way of yes, personifying energies. But then how do we relate to these personified energies? Because these are not necessarily great karma creators, but they do have power. And they do respond, and the sense of willingness to acknowledge that, in a sense of sharing of merits, and the sharing of the goodness of one's life, the fact that one has practiced sila and generosity. The sense of this is something that certainly just that in itself will lead to rebirth in the heavenly realms. So the beings that are in the heavenly realms will have had to have done something, and that's the route to the heavenly realms. That's the support for the heavenly realms. Now, how does one recollect and anusati the devas, recollecting what got them there as an inspiration, and then remembering that this is something that one can aspire to. It's not so much a liberation, but it's something that can be aspired to. And then, if there's, because there are beings in the heavenly realms that are once returners or non-returners, or even sotapannas, if they have confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and have insight as well, they need not necessarily be reborn in the human realm. So if they're non-returners, they won't be, but if they're once returners, they'll find a place where it's possible for liberation in that next lifetime. And sotapannas, they won't go to hell. Now, you can say, well, this is something that you don't really know, but this is part of the teaching. And I'm not going to apologize for it because, it's a helpful way of reflecting now of what can really help now. And it gives a basic direction to life. And I think that's probably 6 aspects of meditation that are possible. The standard number is 6, but there are also 4 more that you can work on if you really want to. And at this time, it's the week before Magha Puja this time. So Magha Puja is the spontaneous gathering of the Sangha and the reflection on the Vada Patimokkha, the short, succinct summary of all the Buddha's teaching. And it's a helpful thing to remember. Kanti paramanta bodhidika nibbānam paramang vadanti Buddha. And the last of the 10 reflections is in fact a reflection about the nature of nibbana. The reflection on the ending of the asavas, the no more rebirth, the ending of all problems, the complete release, no more. And this is something that is helpful, to contemplate where does the whole thing end? Where is there no going forward, no going backwards, and no standing still? Where is the place to endure? What is the space? Where is there complete peace? And noticing that as often as possible is the noticing of the neutral. And the recollection of the goal. It gives the supreme goal a place in anusati, a place to contemplate. This is worth it. It's worth it. It's worth the ease of that sense of peace. The other 3 recollections are not really anusatis, they're more like meditation practices, which are to do with the contemplating death, which with luck will give you a sense of urgency, because this sensitivity that we do experience is not guaranteed. This sense of possibility of responding is not guaranteed. This body is fragile. And this is where we do experience, because this body anchors us to here and now. And it's not a sure thing, it's a very fragile thing. And it doesn't last very long. As everybody starts to know, when they start to recognize the days and nights are relentlessly passing, that this is short. So to use this best. But to be in this body and to really contemplate this body, to know how it works, this is Kaya Anusati. To really appreciate it. Use this as a contemplation. All the aspects of Kaya Anusati, which include, the Anapanasati, which is the other Anusati. It's the breath meditation, and these 3 with the contemplation of Nibbana, or the recollection of Nibbana, the recollection of the peace. Upasana Nusati, it's the ending, the relinquishment, the end of things. These are the last of these 4 make up, with the other 6, make up the 10 recollections, 10 things that can be thought about and contemplated, both in words and as a focus or a point for noticing what happens when one does bring up these subjects. And if what happens is nothing very much, then know that. If what happens is a sense of aversion or doubt, know that. No? So it's you give, when you practice anusati or you take something up, it's not trying to produce anything. You're not trying to create something, but you're giving an opportunity to, see what happens when you play this note, when you sustain this for a while. See what happens when you think about this. What happens internally gives you something to work with. Sometimes when we come to meditation practice, it's like, oh, just sit down, get calm, get rid of all our thoughts. But sometimes having a theme or having something to contemplate or notice can give us more sustained, because we can notice what's happening. Anapanasati is a way of noticing what's happening. Mindfulness with breathing. Noticing what distracts the mind from the breath. Noticing what brings the mind back to the breath. This is anusati. This is using something for insight. And all of these can be used to a greater or lesser degree for insight as subjects for recollection, reconnecting, contemplating. And the patience of this and the frustration that comes with this is a way of transforming our lives. It's the transforming quality. This is the patience. Kanti paramang tapotitika. Patience is the supreme austerity. It's the sustaining of something. We're patient now, in the moment, but sustaining that now patience is what transforms. Now, the only time we can be patient is now. If we're waiting for something to end, we're actually being impatient. Patience is being able to be with what is now and sustaining it now, patient endurance. Kanti is patient endurance, enduring that. The patient enduring is Kanti. It's not, the patience is being with it for now, not impatiently, but being the sense of this I can do, this I can be with, this I can work with. And sustaining that is Kanti, and that's what transforms. And when it doesn't, when you lose patience, you switch off, you get caught in one of the hindrances, get distracted in some way. Patient endurance is sustaining this attention. And the transformation that that is the direction, is nibbana. It's here and now. The peace and the ease of here and now can also be an object for anusati. So I offer that for your reflection this evening, and then I don't know whether there'll be any questions at all, but give you my best wishes. If somebody wants to type a question, they're most welcome. If you want to turn on your cameras, you're most welcome. no questions, no problems, no worries, no hopes, no fears. Thank you, Ajahn. How can we deal with attachment to insight? Sometimes there's the view or the thought that comes up of, oh, things are actually like this. When one tries to recreate this, things are happening at another level, which is presence. Yeah, it's a funny thing. I think if there's a sense of I have this insight, then if it's humbling, then there's one of the phrases that comes to mind if there's insights for me is the Buddhas and the patriarchs, they did not lie. Because sometimes I don't really trust what I read in the scriptures or what I've heard. And then when the insight arises that confirms it in some way, there's a sense of, oh, and that gives confidence. And then also there's a sense of humility. How could I got that wrong for so long? And those feelings are happening. And then the test is really, as I often say, is how you are in your daily life. How do you relate to yourself and to others? And the insight itself, all that is mine, beloved and pleasing will become otherwise, will become separated from me. And even the insights you have, they may not be something that you can cling on to. Presence, yeah. I don't know how things work out in the world or work out within ourselves. And it's not personal. So that's a presence, the awareness. And worry is I'm worrying about something. It's close to doubt in some way. I don't know what's going to happen. But doubt is like it's also like something quite precious because it's very close to uncertainty. Worry is like making more of uncertainty. And maybe this is a way of talking about worries when you add to doubt, when you make more of doubt, you don't know what's going to happen, so you start worrying about it. You know, the classic one that, you know, if you're a traveler and you're waiting for your bags to come out of the come off the plane, if you've had bags in the hold of the plane and you don't know whether they're going to come out and onto the baggage carousel. And will it come out or not? You don't know. You have some confidence that it will, but there maybe have been times when it hasn't, so you just don't know. And then if you can stay with the sense of I don't know, and just know how that feels, that's doubt. I don't know. If you worry about it, you're thinking, I don't know whether it's going to happen. But if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to have to do this. And then then I don't know what I'm going to do about that. And how will I be able to claim on my insurance? And will I be able to get it back? That's the worry bit, which is the extra bit to doubt. Yeah, that's that quite simple case. And to stop that, or to hold it at that, if you hold doubt, stop doubt going into worry, just come into the sense of, I really don't know. This is uncertain. And where do I feel this sense of uncertainty? How do I experience it in the body? How do I experience it? What happens to the breath with this experience of doubt? If I can stay with the doubt, then there's also a sense of, oh, it's like this. The doubt is like this. I don't have to add to it. I don't know what I can do. Now, in terms of some doubts, it's okay to ask. If you have doubts about your meditation, it's okay to ask. If you have doubts about stuff, ask if you need to. But also allow the sense of to use the sense of doubt as a way of stopping thought. So when you really don't know something, allow the sense of I don't know to not go into worry. So you leave the spaciousness of not knowing in that possibility. It's the way things are. There's always uncertainty. It's actually the world that we live in is uncertain. And there is stress in that, and understanding that. Because things are uncertain, there's always stress. How much we add to that stress is a sense of wanting to make it certain when it's not certain, and worry is a way of trying to make it certain, things that are uncertain. Worrying about the past is more like remorse, and that's something that needs to be, transformed in some way into something that actually is helpful. By thinking, well, that was unskillful. I will learn from this. This is not something that's worth repeating. How did this happen? What were the steps leading up to it? How can I learn from this? How can I turn this mistake into something that I've actually learned from? That's something one can do with remorse. How do I relate? How do I relate to myself when I don't know what to do or what to say or what to think, when there's confusion, fear, and a lot of distress? You have the guidelines of what to do. You have the precepts which tell you what not to do, which is a very good protection for you. And then what to think, you've got, and that also covers what to say. What to think thoughts of, this is Samasankappa, which is thoughts of not harming, thoughts of renunciation, and thoughts of non-cruelty. So a sense of being willing to think those things through, contemplate the Dhamma, think about that. If you want to proliferate about anything, proliferate about the Dhamma. And when there's confusion, fear, and a lot of distress, when there's confusion, then use the sense of the body, because this is where you have to be, this here, this now. Play with the breath, with how you can play with the breath. So breathe out, hold the breath out, sip the breath back in, hold the breath out. Hold the breath out with the belly in, not with the, and then just sip the breath back in. Recollect the Buddha, recollect the Dhamma, recollect the Sangha. Find a way to hold on to something that will take you from confusion. And in the moment, when you're with somebody, just, be with the body, be here and now, and say, and actually recognize, I don't know what I'm going to do or say next. I have some confidence that it's going to be okay, but actually I don't know. And this allows the possibility. But if you have confidence in your sila, confidence in your basic generosity, and some faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, in the triple gem, or something outside and inside, you have faith in your sila and your generosity, you know that what you're going to try to do is not going to be something that's going to be indulging or harming or exploiting or cruel. Then you can have confidence when you act with people that it's going to be okay. You'll get there. One small step at a time. Even if they're horrible to you, you'll be all right. That's a way of reflecting. So that's what I would encourage with that one.